As I speak, I know the next trafficked person is getting ready for the trip. Before you jump on that car, please think twice. I thank you very kindly. There's another program tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Hello family, you're watching Africans Online. Make sure to watch it with your friends, boyfriend,
Yeah, you are welcome.
Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us.
To you all out there, we hope that we are going to make you proud. We hope that we are going to make you happy, Africans.
Mr. Marvin, please,
hello,
you say hello to the people.
Hello, viewers and listeners as well. It's me, Marvin, live and direct from Uganda, Kampala. It is my city. I'm really happy and humbled, to come and share something with you. I'm really happy to be online with Mr. Emmanuel. Big up my mentor, big up my teacher, and thanks for that opportunity you gave me to come onto online. I'm really happy and honored as well. My viewers, this is Africans Online Broadcasting, the only network which every African, whether abroad or in the motherland, can get connected to other people online.
Thank you very much, my brother Marvin from Uganda. Every listener out there, telling you we are connected all around Africa. We have our correspondents in Nigeria, also in Uganda, Kenya. Yes, and my brother, Mr. Marvin, we want to ask you how the people in Uganda they are doing today.
People in Uganda here are really excited, are really good for what I introduced for this. It's brand new. People like it. People like the attitude and the creativity of what we did for the Africans online broadcasting. People are wanting the program. People are subscribing. People are wanting their programs because they are amazing. They are around the world. Because everywhere you go, you can listen or see some news using a phone, of which Africans online are simplifying each and everything. Blessed be brother for such an opportunity for the low income people like people down here in Uganda. You are really great, and may the living God reward you in abundance. Reporting for Africans online broadcasting. I'm Marvin, live here in Kampala, Uganda.
Thank you, Marvin, our brother. We would like, before we continue, as we go on this very program, to introduce you properly to our audience, to make them know that Marvin from Uganda is going to be hosting our daily request show here for you, so you can always book in with him. All other contacts on how to get communications with him will be made public here as we continue, so that you can know how to get your request music down there to Marvin, so as to bring it for all audience here. Africans Online request time, afternoon time, from this very time to the next 2 hours. Africans Online, we are on our request show. First of all, I start by giving you people this very hot tune from a brother in I don't know, Marvin, you correct this for us. I don't know where our sister or brother comes from, but the music here is Emergency. We want to play right now from Orisha Sound. Am I correct?
Emergency is from a duo based in Jamaica, though they are born in Russia. It's called Orisha Sound. Shell K is a Jamaican, and Orisha Sound, the lady who did who are the people for Emergency. Like they are in Jamaica. They are born in Jamaica but raised in Russia. So Emergency is the song. It's a dancehall song produced by Mr. Herbert Hills. He's a Ugandan, top in USA. He's a good producer. He's the main mind. He's the main man behind the Emergency song. It's a massive tune. It has gone far.
Okay, that is good.
It's a viewers.
That is good. So
viewers.
Yeah, go on.
So our viewers, please let's welcome Orisha Sound straight out of Jamaica with a big tune called Emergency. Our viewers, listen
Emergency.
To it.
I'm on my way, baby.
My heart skipping up a bit first. Do you ever get boom boom boom? Boom to the big bombs into the beat.
Emergency, emergency. Pull to the left and let me through. Emergency, emergency. Sky dark up like a star, ma come.
Hashtag bye bye baby. When the beat drops,
Let's just boom 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 boom.
rhythm never stops. I'm calling you,
petrol. Have this baby, you're special. With your beautiful body and your sexy physique. Pull up at my gas station, me full up your tank. The way how you at, you have me perspiring. Lone worker, baby, don't need no iron. Strike up the matches and me start up the firing. I'm the love doctor. You will feel no more pain. I'm the love doctor. Girl, your body, you drive me insane. I'm the love doctor. My heart skipping up a beat first aid. Do you have a kid? Boom, boom, boom. Bouncing to the beat, bouncing to the beat. Emergency, emergency. Pull to the left and let me through. Emergency, emergency. Sky dark up like a star, ma come.
Hashtag bye bye baby. When the beat drops, let's just boom 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 boom. Rhythm never stops. I'm calling you, calling you, calling you, calling you. Stay with me tonight. I'm wanting you, wanting you, wanting you, wanting you. Take me for a ride.
My heart skipping up a beat first aid. Do you have a kid? Boom boom boom. Bouncing to the beat, bouncing to the beat. Emergency, emergency. Pull to the left and let me through. Emergency, emergency. Sky dark up like a star, ma come. Emergency, emergency. Big lamp pelling, still let the data come. Emergency, emergency. Track wet and me still a go run. Boom 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 boom. Boom 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 boom. Boom 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 boom. Boom 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 boom.
Emergency, emergency.
Boom boom boom.
Emergency, emergency.
And that is it there, emergency from my brother. Are you still there with us?
Yes, Orisha Sound.
Orisha Sound.
Hope viewers enjoy the emergency song from Orisha Sound out in Jamaica. It's a massive tune, my brother. So the second track is coming out. Oh, Mr. Emma, help me out.
Oh yeah, we are going to play the second sound now from Bravo Africa. I think that is our brother Bravo Africa. You to make a little introduction of who this man is, if you have anything to tell us about Bravo Africa.
Yes, our dear viewers, our dear listeners. Bravo Africa is a dancehall reggae artist from Kenya. He's doing well in terms of music, and please have a test of this track.
That is Feel Nice. We want to play Feel Nice by Bravo Africa.
Yes, it's a massive tune produced by Bravo and mixed by Bravo out of Kenya.
Okay.
Dear viewers, let's welcome Bravo Africa out of Kenya.
Yo, hey, my mother told me a long time, man, if you don't make money, it don't make sense. You hear that? So make money, man, so make money. It's a flashlight music. Seville pan this, man, you hear that? Hey. So me make money, me no make. So me tell them say, watch this, hey.
Me feel nice, hey. Me love me life, hey. Me full of vibes, and money we a make from coins to millions, hey. Me feel nice, hey. Me love me life, hey. Me full of vibes, and money we a make from coins to millions, hey.
Step inna the club, every guy a just a turn up. Party full of guys, every girl a just a wine up. Selector a turn it up, a music we a bass it up.
Every boy with a girl, every girl with a man say.
Real vibe a bust loud inna the speakers and champagne.
Me a toast inna the poolside.
Money don't make way, we are the money maker. And me smell money like a bank account.
Me feel nice, hey. Me love me life, hey. Me full of vibes, and money we a make from coins to millions, hey. Me feel nice, hey. Me love me life, hey. Me full of vibes, and money we a make from coins to millions, hey.
If you know you work hard for your money, every woman, every man raise your cup if you feel me say, hey, hey.
Say, what you know?
We no care what them haters them say. Pre them a pre, we no fuck it anyway. Say, hey. feel nice, me feel nice. Me love me life, me love me life. Me full of vibe, me full of vibes. And money we are make from points to millions. Me feel nice, me feel nice. Me love me life, me love me life. Me full of vibe, me full of vibes. And money we are make from coins to millions. Me feel nice, me feel nice. Me love me life, me love me life.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Feel Nice by Bruno. Bravo Africa, sorry. And ladies and gentlemen, this is Africans Online, and our brother with us on the studio here via networking capability, that is the technology of social networking. Today our brother on the other side is Marvin from Uganda, and we are very, very happy to be with our man here. Marvin, you are the man who is coordinating the request show this afternoon. Tell us what else we need to know about this very program going on.
This very program, it's gonna be mad. It's gonna, like, you are going to enjoy your lunch while listening to great tunes from different countries, from different artists, from different people. And we are going to play them from Monday up to Friday during lunchtime. You enjoy your food or your meal while enjoying good African beats. Africans Online it's all about promoting the new talent and creating a door for African artists to be heard online. So it's an opportunity for Mr. Emma, which he did. And Marvin out of Uganda is to make this program go far. And people out there, our dear viewers, our dear listeners, this is Marvin alongside Mr. Emma doing the lunchtime request show. Enjoy the third tune. Let's welcome the third tune from the artist, Mr. Emma. Help me out.
The artist now we are going to play in our dial is Mr. The one and only Dynaman Mind. This man is, I think, situated in the United States, and we are going to play for you a music casting stone. So, Mr. Our brother Marvin, what have you about Dynaman Mind, so that people get a little insight about this very wonderful, talented young guys who are representing Africa in the musical world?
All right, our dear viewers, our dear listeners, let me introduce to you the baddest, the multi-talented Mr. Dynaman Mind. He's a producer, he's a reggae artist, and recently he won the best award from the Lady Flavia Award. He's more talented, and this casting stone song went viral. Guys, our dear listeners, our dear viewers, let's welcome Mr. Dynaman Mind out Hartford, USA. Mr. Emma, let's go.
Perfection, I'm searching.
Feel like,
he without sin cast the first stone. So when them fling them rocket, bounce back on them glass holes. So bounce back on them glass holes. Yeah. He without sin cast the first stone. So when them fling them rocket, bounce back on them glass holes. So bounce back on them glass holes. Yeah. I wonder if them are gonna really change. I wonder, every day I wonder if them are gonna really change. Some people out there, them wicked with them evil heart. I feel wonder what's the real cause. I can't see them blood in them vein. Me I tell you I can't see them blood in them vein. Act like them perfect, like they don't make mistakes. So the rumors always start at them gate. People left them debate. The most righteous but full up I hear. Before you touch mine, get your business straight. He without sin cast the first stone. So when them fling them rocket, bounce back on them glass holes. So bounce bounce back on them glass holes, yeah. He without sin cast the first stone. So when them fling them rocket, bounce back on them glass holes. So bounce back on them glass holes, yeah. Old crab in a barrel, them are some vampire. We sick and tired of your dirty ways. Oh, you fi judge me with a lifetime of failure. You know, see, say, Jaja, I go clap it for your folly wheels. Why you can't show love anytime you come around? Uplift instead of try put me down, put me down. What's in my dream? You critique my grind. When a lifestyle is worse than mine. Why you so unkind? You know you cross the line. You know wanna get the youth to shine. Every day you say you want to step out from crime. When you spend the blood money same time. He without sin cast the first stone. So when them fling them rocket, bounce back on them glass holes. So bounce back on them glass holes, yeah. He without sin cast the first stone. So when them fling them rocket, bounce back on them glass holes. So bounce back on them glass holes, yeah. I wonder if them a go really change. I wonder every day. I wonder if them a go really change. I wonder if them a go really change. I wonder every day. I wonder if them a go really change.
That is Diamond Mine for you. They are casting stones. These are wonderful, brilliant, talented artists from all around Africa, living also all around the world. These are men and women that are making us proud. We are happy to have a DJ connector like our brother Marvin in Uganda, who is making it possible for us to get connected with all these wonderful young men of African descent, all into this music world. Mr. Marvin, our brother DJ Marvin, please, what exactly is going on?
Yes, my brother. So our dear viewers, our dear listeners, we told you, we promised, but today we officially started the lunchtime music request show. I and Mr. Emmanuel will make things happen. We'll make you dance while eating your meal. We told you which is getting started. In Africa, we are more talented, and this is African online broadcasting service. I told you, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend.
Yes, it's so. You are right.
Lunchtime request show.
And now we continue again to break it down for our viewers, our listeners that are surrounded all around the world. We are going to make you, like our brother Marvin said, we are going to break your bones with enjoyment. And now we are going direct to the hub start where it happens. We are going for a believer. A believer is called FQ. He's a Nigerian. The name of the music, the track is Believer. So this is from FQ.
It's from our brother.
FQ, right?
From our brother FQ.
Any information that we need to know about this our brother FQ?
Mr. FQ is an upcoming multi-talented drama producer. He is from Nigeria. He is the main man behind the smart tune titled Believer. So our dear fans, I'm here to introduce to you the multi-talented FQ from Nigeria. Let's welcome Mr. FQ. Mr. Play the tune.
Yeah, the tune is on.
I'm on my way, baby.
My heart, keeping up the first day. Do you ever get boom, boom, boom? Until the big bombs into me.
Emergency, emergency. Pull to the left and let me through. Emergency, emergency. Skydive.
song is dedicated to all the believers around the world. Those who put their faith in God. Yeah, you will never disappoint you. That's right, FQ on this one. MB2, word up. Okay. One. Yes, I'm standing on. Yes, I'm standing on. Yes, I'm standing on. And I'm standing on. Yes, I'm standing on. Yes, I'm standing on. Oh, wow, 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 wow. Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on His promises. Standing on. Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on His promises.
Okay, yeah, I'm standing on the love of God. I'm standing on the promises of God. I have my Bible and I preach the word of God. The Lord is mighty. I'm the seed of Abraham, the son of God. The Lord is faithful, ever to be grateful. Hallelujah to the Most High. I'm grateful. God has given me the grace. He has taken over my shame. I'm thankful. Give a love to Christ, cause God loves you day and night. I was in the street, but now I got a victory. She your name not busy, but now you got a victory. This is my testimony. He has given you plenty of money. The Lord is faithful, ever to be grateful. The Lord has taken over my shame. He has given me the power to reign. This is my fame. Deuteronomy 12:5-4, and this is what it says.
Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on His promises. Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on His promises. The love you showed to me, yes, I cannot deny. You show me your love over the cross of Calvary. And I've never been the same again. The things you do for me, my life has been a testimony. Cause each and every day I give you love, and I want the rain in my life, and everywhere I go they see me, they shout glory, hallelujah, for the things that you do for me. I was nobody, you turn my sorrow into dancing. That's why I say, standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on His promise. Standing on. Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on His promise.
Yeah, back then I was in the streets smoking dope. Never know that it was so dope. Yeah, but now I get Jesus, cause Jesus is mighty, ever to save. Would you ever give your life to Him? Cause this is all, yeah, trying to be in my shoe. I gotta tell you all the story, everything I did. But now God has given me the grace, the power to reign, yeah.
Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on the love of God. Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on His promise. Standing on. Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on the love of God. Standing on. Standing on His promises. Okay, that's what it is, bro. For the love you show to me, Christ is everything you need right now. You're the best thing in my life. Yeah, I've never been the same again. For the love that you show to me upon the cross of Calvary, you give me faith. Yeah.
Yes, our dear listeners, hope you enjoyed the massive track from Mr. FQ from Nigeria. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'm still Marvin live and direct from Uganda, Africa. This is Africans Online Broadcasting, and this is Lunchtime Music Show. It's me, Marvin, your host, and these guys are a lot more are still in stock. And please allow me to introduce to you another track which we...
Hello? Oh wow, we are losing the contact of our brother there. It's okay. Yeah, you are back again. We lost your contact a little bit. We didn't get the music. This is going to be the last track we are going to play before we go on break. We are going to have a 15 minutes break and continue again. That will be 15 minutes past the hour of 1 o'clock in Uganda and 15 minutes past the hour of 12 o'clock in Central European time. So my brother, Mr. Marvin, we are going to continue now, returning a little bit to, we are playing Boneless. Boneless is also from Kenya. His music is Higher. That's the music we are going to play. The last music we are going to take before we go on a break. My people, please don't touch that beautiful dial. We will be right back immediately after the short 15 minutes break. Mr. Marvin, you have anything to say before the music goes on?
Hey, Mr. Boneless, dear viewers, is a Kenyan best reggae and soul dancehall artist. He's based in Mombasa, where the slave trade took place. So these guys will come a massive tune from Boneless in Kenya. Hunter, Mr.
Yo, a big tease of one. She knows the one and only one. HRSU and Hassan Boneless. When she did somebody then I low and higher. And every man I go starts on fire. Sissinana boy, Sissinana boy, Sissinana na 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 na. When she did somebody then I low and higher. And every man I go starts on fire. Sissinana boy, Sissinana boy, Sissinana na 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 na. Her body so sweet and her body so sweet. Her body so sweet and her body so neat. So she want it and twist, everybody wants it. Her body so fit and her body so sweet. Her body so sweet and her body so neat. So she want it and twist, everybody wants it. Hey, yo me love it so she want it and jiggle it and it up and back it up. So me love it so she want it and drop it and jiggle it so me like it. Yo me love it. Yeah, me love it when she want it and jiggle it and it up and back it up. So me love it when she want it and drop it and jiggle it so me like it. Yeah, me like it. When she did somebody then I low and higher. And every man I go starts on fire. Sissinana boy, Sissinana boy, Sissinana na 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 na. When she did somebody then I low and higher. And every man I go starts on fire. Sissinana boy, Sissinana boy, Sissinana na 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 na. Like something divine, really she a want. She want so far like she want break out the spine. Like something divine, the way she a want. She want so far like she want break up the spine. It's like in Rambo Canam. She ready for the rock, ready for the mom, ready for the mama, ready for the bob, ready for the bubble, so it's bubble trouble. When she did somebody then I low and higher. And every man I go starts to fight. Sissinana boy, Sissinana boy, Sissinana na 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 na. When she did somebody then I low and higher. And every man I go starts to fight. Sissinana boy, Sissinana boy, Sissinana na 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 na. Her body so sweet and her body so sweet. Her body so sweet so she want it and twist, everybody wants it. Her body so sweet and her body so sweet. Her body so sweet and her body so neat. So she want it and twist, everybody wants it. When she did somebody then I low and higher. And every man I go starts to fight. Sissinana boy, Sissinana boy, Sissinana na 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 na. When she did somebody then I low and higher. And every man I go starts to fight. Sissinana boy, Sissinana boy, Sissinana na 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 na. She don't know it's hot, stand the Boneless. She don't know what the body's producer. Producer know the fun the beat. We have medical wine and twist.
At least 25 players either sitting, kneeling, or raising came in, Brian, Rachel Campos Duffy has this music on the radio. And she just continues it.
She still has
the
a
weekend.
She has a radio. She came with her radio. Fantastic.
I also stole Steve's notes. So
yeah, I walked in the green room. Where are my notes? And Dr. Sapphire said, I think Rachel took them. She was in here, and her notes are right there with her phone.
I did.
So I made some phone calls.
Well, thanks for having me here today.
Yeah, no problem. I signed up at the last minute.
I've been here all week, and I have to tell you, I really am impressed with how early you guys get up every day. I mean, it really is a new thing for me. I haven't done it since I was nursing, so now you know what it's like to nurse.
Absolutely. Almost very similar,
Right.
but I imagine what you do on a daily basis at home is a lot harder than what we're doing here. What you did for 8 hours over the weekend. Are you ready for 3 more?
I'm ready for 3 more.
All right,
Great.
let's get started.
All right, let's go.
It's good to have you. Meanwhile, Congress is facing yet another potential roadblock in the push to get tax reform to the American people.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. We're in the final lap. One Republican could be holding the whole thing up as some Democrats threaten to make sure the government shuts down.
Griff Jenkins joins us live from our nation's capital with the latest. Griff.
Good morning, Rachel, Brian, and Steve. Congress is back, and they have a very simple and clear mission. Approve a spending bill to keep the government running past this Friday and agree on a final historic tax bill to be conferenced between the House and Senate to send to the president's desk. But that may be easier said than done. There are significant differences between the two versions. The duration of the cuts, delays in the corporate rate slash, the repeal of the individual mandate, and the elimination of state and local deductions. Already one Senator, Susan Collins, says despite her voting for the Senate's version, there's no guarantee she'll support what comes next.
No, I mean, obviously, I want to see what comes out. I believe that the amendments that I added on medical expense deductions, on property tax deductions, on helping retirement security for public employees improve the bill.
And on that spending deadline, Democrats are holding out for a deal on DACA, as Budget Director Mick Mulvaney says that is simply holding the government hostage.
It's funny to see it now that the Republicans are in charge. This just sheds light on the fact that the appropriations, the spending system is broken when any little group can sort of hold the government hostage. We need to get beyond that. I think that we will. I don't think you'll see a government shutdown.
So 2 jobs, approve a spending bill and conference that tax cut historic bill. And we'll see. Congress is in until next Friday, the 15th. Guys?
That's right. Thank you very much, Griff. The Republicans on the verge of a big win. So the House is expected to vote today to start the conference and name the negotiators. Thought he had to vote on stuff like this.
Yeah, he wasn't going to go in until Tuesday back to D.C., but he has to come in now because they're going to vote on this so they can go to conference.
Right. So it's going to be fascinating to see, number one, who's going to be the conferees for the Senate and for the House. And then when they go in there, what are they going to go in with? Because there was a lot of stuff even written on the margins with the Senate that you think to yourself, is that part of the bill? Is that part of the bill? Clearly it was. And what are these side deals they label the Senate to get done? And does that have to get passed through the conference in order for them to vote when it goes to all of Congress? So it's going to be a fascinating week because we also have to do this thing called funding the government. The latest thing is called the Republicans going for 2 weeks. Let's just extend it for 2 weeks, according to the New York Times today, and then looks for something more long term in terms of funding some projects that both Democrats and Republicans want.
Just like last time. All right. Meanwhile, Rachel, you had a busy weekend. The President of the United States has taken on the FBI. It was revealed that, remember Robert Mueller, who is the special counsel, he has had the reputation of stocking his team of attorneys with a bunch of people who love Hillary Clinton. Well, as it turns out, they had to essentially fire from the special counsel investigation a fellow by the name of Peter Strzok. He was an FBI agent, and as it turns out, he's a Trump hater. He was corresponding with his girlfriend, a woman he was having an affair with.
Also an FBI, in the FBI. She's an attorney in the FBI.
Anti-Trump stuff, pro-Hillary stuff, so they had to fire him, which casts a pall over the whole festivity.
That's right. Well, and what's interesting is the Republicans' House Intelligence Committee kind of noticed he wasn't, because this guy was the lead investigator. He's not a small guy. He's the lead investigator on all the big stories that we've been talking about over the last year. Hillary, Russia. And so when the House Intelligence Committee, Devin Nunes, realizes he's not there. They have questions. They're
Where'd he
like,
go?
this sounds kind of fishy. And completely stonewalled. FBI hid for months why this guy was not there.
So just as they're drawing up paperwork to make him appear in front of the House Intelligence Committee, and as the FBI has been stonewalling him, the FBI says, okay, you can speak to Andrew McCabe, the once acting and now deputy FBI director, and you can speak to Mr. Stroke, who is having a affair with someone named Linda Page, who is actually now moved over to Human Resources. He is. Yeah, he's been Human Resources, but pulled off this case. And the only thing I thought about over the weekend and listening to you, because I was listening on Sirius, unable to see you in person. As far as I know, you all could have been in jeans, which is another controversy we'll talk about later. Nice. But I will say this. You just wonder if he's the only guy. Right. Is he the only one with the anti-Trump bias doing the interviewing? And you can understand where the president can get frustrated. He just wants...
But fear not, we will bring it back to greatness. And then, as it turns out, James Comey himself started tweeting over the weekend, I want the American people to know this truth. The FBI is honest, the FBI is strong, and the FBI is and always will be independent. And he had done that. He retweeted himself from earlier in the summer.
And if I have to, he went on to say, if I have to, I'll give my notes to a friend of mine to give to the New York Times after I'm fired. Did we have time? Did that go out? It didn't actually fit in the list.
That could have been a crime.
Right.
Well, and I think that what it calls into question is all these investigations. You know, this Peter Strzok was in charge of interviewing Hillary Clinton. Remember, he was also involved
on
with
the weekend, the July 4th weekend on that Saturday.
That's right. And he was also in charge of the dossier. And remember, somebody leaked the conversation between Comey and the president about the dossier, which gave permission to the press to go with this fake news story.
Yeah.
A lot of people are wondering whether it was Peter Strzok.
And so now when you look at that, you understand the reluctance for a lot of people in Washington, D.C. who've been watching this to think this is a fair investigation. Ultimately, as Ben Shapiro said on the channel, it's all about trusting government. Do you trust knowing that they had an FBI agent who hated the president running the investigation?
One of the problems here is that we know that James Comey was basically letting Hillary Clinton off with nothing but a public slap on the wrist. Now we know that another FBI agent who is working on that DOJ. Right now, it seems like no one trusts any member of any institution, and that means that you're just going to side with the people that you feel best about, the people who you agree with most. Is that we know that James Comey was basically letting Hillary Clinton off with nothing but a public slap on the wrist. Now we know that another FBI agent who is working on that particular case was biased against President Trump. It's certainly a problem when we have no trust in any of our institutions. I mean, the president is at war with the FBI is at war with the president president's at war with parts of the DOJ. Right now, it seems like no one trusts any member of any institution, and that means that you're just going to side with the people that you feel best about, the people who you agree with most on policy.
And what the president, I'm sure, is going to qualify a little bit later is that there's so many great FBI agents doing great work for not a lot of money on a daily basis, never get any praise, never, they're nameless, faceless. And he does, knowing the president, he's not going after them. He's going after a lot of the people at the upper end during the Comey years.
The deep state.
Yeah, that seem to have a bias going into something that matters so much to the future of his administration.
Right. And in a little while, we're going to tell you about this Indiana congressman who he looked at what happened with the Kate Steinle verdict, and now to crack down on sanctuary cities, they will hold local lawmakers essentially responsible for some of their actions if they violate the law, up to $1 million fine and 5 years in prison.
Congressman,
really something.
Wow, Congressman Todd Rokita, his bill out of Indiana, he's pushing this back because he sees the frustration the Justice Department's having, getting these cities to not be sanctuary states and having these judges stop the Justice Department from keeping back funds because they're violating the law.
Right. We'll talk to Kellyanne Conway about that. In the meantime, Jillian's here with some headlines.
Good Monday morning. Our set is so festive.
I know it.
I love
Tis
it.
the season.
I know. We do have some breaking news, guys, so let's get to that right now, starting with this Fox News alert. The U.S. and South Korea kicking off their largest ever joint air exercise as tensions reach a boiling point with North Korea. Starting today, more than 230 fighter jets and nearly 12,000 U.S. military personnel will take part in the 5-day effort known as Vigilant Ace. The joint drill comes just 1 week after North Korea tested its most advanced missile that may be capable of hitting anywhere in the U.S. A man charged in connection with the death of a 3-year-old girl will face a judge today. Earl Kimry, the live-in boyfriend of Mariah Woods' mother, is accused of hiding the toddler's body in a creek 25 miles from their North Carolina home. He has a long criminal history and claims to be the last person who saw the child alive. It's not known how Mariah died or who is responsible for her death. President Trump heading to Utah today to announce plans to shrink 2 national monuments. Bears Ears National Monument, created by President Obama last year, expected to be reduced by 85%, and the Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument could be cut in half. The announcement coming months after the president ordered Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke to review 27 national monuments created since the 90s. The NFL's nearly $100 million donation aimed at stopping the national anthem protests is not going very well. At least 25 players either sitting, kneeling, or raising their fists on Sunday, days after the league pledged financial support to social justice causes. Meantime, Patriots star tight end Rob Gronkowski could be suspended. Take a look right here after this dirty hit on Buffalo Bills cornerback Tre'Davious White. Gronk apologizing right after the game.
I don't really believe in type of shots like that. Just want to apologize to Tre'Davious White.
White suffered a concussion. The Patriots won the game 23-3. But hey, you know what? He owned it. He said, I'm responsible.
Yeah,
so
I give him credit, but what's he if he's frustrated, what is the rest of the league? All they do is win. He's got 2 Super Bowls. They're up by 20 points, and he's frustrated.
I know.
Oops. Okay. Please.
He'd like
Come
a
on.
do-over.
But at least someone apologize.
I'm frustrated. It doesn't mean I'm going to come over there and hit you guys.
Thank you, Kelly, because you keep winning, and you have no right to do that.
All right. Thank you.
Meanwhile, 12 minutes after the hour, okay, dare I say 13, the NFL can't stop the anthem protests, and now Colin Kaepernick, the man who started it all, is being honored for bravery.
And we just told you about the FBI agent removed from the Mueller probe. Now Congress is demanding answers about his role in the Clinton email scandal. Congressman Ron DeSantis is live. He's heading the charge into 2 other Clinton probes. He's next on Fox and Friends.
Sean's wife.
I have asthma, one of many pieces in my life. So when my asthma symptoms kept coming back on my long-term control medicine, I talked to my doctor and found a missing piece in my asthma treatment with Brio.
Once daily Brio prevents asthma symptoms. Brio's for adults with asthma not well controlled on a long-term asthma control medicine, like an inhaled corticosteroid. Brio won't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden breathing problems. Brio is specifically designed to open up airways to improve breathing for a full 24 hours. Brio contains a type of medicine that increases the risk of death from asthma problems and may increase the risk of hospitalization in children and adolescents. Brio is not for people whose asthma is well controlled on a long-term asthma control medicine, like an inhaled corticosteroid. Once your asthma is well controlled, your doctor will decide if you can stop Brio and prescribe a different asthma control medicine, like an inhaled corticosteroid. Do not take Brio more than prescribed. See your doctor if your asthma does not improve or gets worse.
Ask your doctor if 24-hour Brio could be a missing piece for you.
See if you're eligible to pay no more than $10 a month.
When Mom passed, we couldn't keep her house. My sister suggested Homevestors, the We Buy Ugly Houses people. We scheduled a no-risk consultation, and Mark was so nice. He gave us a cash offer right away.
Visit WeBuyUglyHouses.com or call 800-44-BUYER.
Give a gift that brings the ones you love even closer with a DNA kit from 23andMe. And this holiday, get up to $50 off each kit at 23andme.com.
More people shop online for the holidays than ever before. And the United States Postal Service delivers more of those purchases to homes than anyone else in the country. Because we know even the smallest things are sometimes the biggest.
Hey, don't be sad that the SiriusXM free listening event is over. You can get your groove back with packages starting at $6.99 a month plus fees. Just visit SiriusXM.com/GetSXM to turn us back on and enjoy all that commercial-free music plus sports, comedy, talk, news, and more. So visit SiriusXM.com/GetUsXM or call for the latest, greatest offers to get you up and rocking in no time.
I love you, basement guest bathroom. Your privacy makes you my #1 place to go #2. I love you, but sometimes you stink. Febreze Air Effects doesn't just mask, it cleans away odors. Because the things you love the most can stink. And try Febreze Small Spaces to clean away odors for up to 30 days. Breathe happy with Febreze.
Hi.
Well, honey, I said sweet potatoes.
Yes, you did. I forgot the shrimp. Shrimp and apple pie.
Dad likes pecan.
Oh, well, in that case, I can.
Love to drive? Visit your Infinity retailer for leases starting at $289 a month during the Start Your Own Legacy winter sales event. Infinity. Empower the drive.
Republican lawmakers demanding answers as an FBI agent is pulled from the Mueller probe and his role in the Clinton email investigation under review after he was caught sending anti-Trump and pro-Hillary texts. Republican Congressman from Florida, Ron DeSantis, sits on the House Oversight Committee. He's been leading the charge into 2 other Clinton probes. Joins us live now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So this Peter Strzok, who had been one of the lead investigators on the Mueller probe, he'd been involved in the Hillary email thing, now the Mueller probe with Russia. Turns out he hates Trump.
Well, and the thing is, if you look at the Hillary probe, remember all the things that were curious about it. Comey drafts the letter, exoneration letter, 2 months before she's even interviewed.
Right.
You have all these crazy immunity agreements with all the Clintonites, which there was really no use of the grand jury. Comey edited his statement from saying grossly negligent, which is what the statute said, to extremely careless. So it was almost as if they bent over backwards not to make a case against Hillary. With the Mueller probe, I mean, they're just scorching the earth, finding whatever little ticky-tack charge they can find on anyone, even having nothing to do with Russia collusion. So when you see the lead investigator in both of those was a partisan for Hillary and was anti-Trump, it undercuts the legitimacy of both of those investigations.
Absolutely, because people looking in, we want our FBI, our Department of Justice, to be nonpartisan. But now it looks, because the Inspector General at the Department of Justice apparently unearthed these text between Peter Strzok and the woman he was having the affair with, and suddenly it just hits the fan.
Yeah, and the thing is the special counsel was not upfront about this. I mean, this happened months ago, and just now this news is finally hitting. Devin Nunes has been trying to get this information from DOJ and the FBI for months, and they've stonewalled every step of the way. So if you're just trying to search for truth, why are you stonewalling the answers that the American people deserve?
So now it sounds as if they will provide to the congressional leadership interviews with this guy, Peter Strzok, also Andrew McCabe, whose wife ran for Congress as a Democrat down in Virginia, and the handler, the FBI handler of the fella who did the Trump dossier. I think we're finally going to be able to connect some dots, aren't we? Unless people start taking the fifth.
I hope so, but they've shown a pattern over the last year saying, okay, we will comply. And then the compliance isn't quite 100%. It's maybe half. So we need to make sure we get all the information. And I think Devin has been very clear. We're going to hold you in contempt if you don't give us the information that we're entitled to. And we need to pursue the contempt if they don't give it to us.
ABC was promoting, they had the smoking gun. On Friday morning, they had the news alert with Brian Ross that said that before he was elected, President Trump told Michael Flynn, go contact the Russians, which would be collusion-ish. But as it turns out, he told Mike Flynn contact them after he won.
Right, and we don't even know, I mean, now it's senior transition official, so it may not even been the president, but there's nothing wrong in a presidential transition from reaching out to other countries. And the main reason they were doing it is because the Obama administration was pursuing a big anti-Israel resolution at the United Nations. They were saying, look, we're going to have a different position on this, maybe, wait until we get into office. I mean, there's nothing illegitimate about doing that.
All right, and for the people looking in, so far, no, they're there, even though some of the Democrats on the Sunday shows were talking about where it's really close.
Well, none of the indictments or pleas have had anything to do with collusion during the campaign, nothing at all. And so that tells me there's no there.
Congressman DeSantis, thank you very much for joining us live.
Yeah.
All right. Meanwhile, we've been getting a lot of questions about taxes and health care, like this one from our viewer, Steve. Will it repeal the penalty tax people have to pay if they are unable to afford health care? We're going to answer your questions about health care impact coming up next.
Here's the story of Green Mountain Coffee Roasters Sumatra Reserve. Let's go to Sumatra.
Bringing you news, updates, information, and entertainment from wherever to take us, especially from our brothers who are doing well in all aspects of music and entertainment, talent, and whatever that brings up the livelihood of people. We know you are there for us, and we are here for you. African Online Network, we are one piece to all of you out there, and God bless you all.
Massive spending deadline at the end of this week. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has assured members of the press and members of Capitol Hill that there won't be a government shutdown, but there's still room for negotiations ahead, and there's only 5 days, so not much time.
That last factor, the biggest, there are only 5 days. Appreciate the reporting. Thank you for setting the table. Let's bring back Karin Demerjen, and joining us is CNN policy analyst David Drucker. All right, so the president weighed in this morning, assuming he wrote it. This may be another one he wants to put on somebody else. Democrats' refusal to give even one vote for massive tax cuts is why we need Republican Roy Moore to win in Alabama. We need his vote on stopping crime, illegal immigration, border wall, military pro-life, VA, judges, Second Amendment, and more. No to Jones, a Pelosi, Schumer puppet. So putting the issue, I guess, Karin, aside of, well, what kind of person do you want casting those votes? Put that to the side. What do you make of this tactic by the president? Isn't it hard to blame the Democrats on this? The way this is being done, they really, Democrats won't like this, but they're really pretty much irrelevant in the process. Their amendments get shot down because they don't have the numbers in every committee where they come up. What could they be doing other than opposing it because they're not part of it?
Right. I mean, they were sidelined pretty much from the get-go, and you saw that playing out last week as you had this scramble to try to rewrite parts of the bill because, you know, Corker was pushing back. Of course, he didn't end up voting for the Senate bill either. But, I mean, the images of the bill with the handwritten notes and the side margins were going around the internet. I think everybody has seen quite how rushed this was at the last minute, and Democrats were not playing a part in that process, and so they're withholding their votes. You know, they don't like the policy to begin with, but they also don't like that they were left out. And so this becomes just a question of, you know, as you said, how can they? But then the president's tweet takes this into a different category. I mean, the things that the president listed about Roy Moore being good for the GOP, sure, maybe all of those items, he will be a beneficial addition, but there is the whole thing about Roy Moore being a very complicated person. Mitch McConnell's already said he would probably be under ethics review the second he gets to the Senate, the second he's seated. And then also there's the matter of, are we sure that Roy Moore actually would be a vote for the GOP on things like these financial matters? We're not, actually. And it's interesting that the president didn't list that. I mean, tax cuts, the tax bill is the impetus for that tweet, but it's not one of the things that the president said that he's in the bag on.
I mean, I don't want to go too far down the Roy Moore avenue here, but David, this is the closest to an endorsement. This is an endorsement. I mean, he says we need Republican Roy Moore to win in Alabama. That's an endorsement from the president.
Yeah, he just endorsed Roy Moore by name after endorsing him without using his name a couple of weeks ago. I don't think it's surprising. I think the president has always looked at Roy Moore as in a similar category to himself, somebody who was accused of sexual misconduct with women that he vehemently denies and swears is a plot. And the idea that Trump was ever going to get involved in pushing Roy Moore out, I thought, was always fantasy, because the because the president himself is always complaining about rigged elections, and so things like that never really made sense. But Karin's very correct in pointing out that Roy Moore is not a guaranteed vote for the Republican agenda. Roy Moore would have opposed the last incarnation of the Republican proposal to repeal and replace Obamacare, where Luther Strange, the man he defeated in that primary in September, supported it. And so these things are not as easy as the president is saying. It's not surprising that Democrats oppose the tax bill en masse. Number one, they don't believe in it. It's just not policy that tends to fit in the Democratic worldview. And number two, and this is political, but it works for both sides, when you help the majority govern, voters tend to reward the majority for govern, not the minority for joining into a majority project. And so none of what we saw over the past few days is surprising.
Right, but he is fighting his own, the president, on this. He's not fighting the Democrats. They don't have the power and they don't have the wherewithal. This is all about divisions within the Republican Party. Karin, it's very interesting. So Mitch McConnell had been uncharacteristically strong in saying, Roy Moore, I think he should step aside. Now he's saying the people of Alabama should decide. You have the president coming out and saying we need the vote. The irony, of course, is Roy Moore allegations are very troubling to people. They're not as bad as those that were against the president. Roy Moore's got 2 women who accused him of assault. The president had more than that. Sure. Because remember, the majority of women with Roy Moore was saying he wanted to date me when I was 16, which was legal.
Sure, but one of them was 14, which the president doesn't have. One was 16,
one was 14.
With the assault.
Well, there was a curious case involving the president with somebody who was underage at the time. The suit was withdrawn. That hurt the credibility of the suit greatly. But it is interesting, Karin, that we're dealing with this imbalance on these stories about what to do. But at the end of the day, they want Roy Moore in there, allegations be damned. Isn't that just a fair assessment at this point?
I mean, they are, the initial reaction was maybe it would be more detriment than good, but yeah, since then, and I think it really does matter that the president has set the tone on this. The president has said, as David pointed out, he kind of endorsed him without mentioning his name, and this is pretty darn close to an endorsement this morning. There's a tide that is moving that the GOP was caught on the wrong side of the last time. When we were talking about a year ago when Trump was the candidate and the GOP came out and said, after the Access Hollywood tape, many members said, I don't know if I like this, I can't endorse him, he should pull out. And he didn't, and he won. And now he's throwing his weight in the Roy Moore game in the same way. And so it's almost like Mitch McConnell, who, and all of the other Republicans who held the line and said, no, we don't stand for this, we have to find some other solution because this isn't good enough for our party, are now saying, oh, okay, well, we'll let it go and see what plays out. And I think the real shift on that is the fact that the president, who was very quiet about this at the outset, when everybody else in the GOP was talking about it, did start to weigh in, and you are seeing people defer to that.
Look, McConnell's in a really difficult position because the more he talks about opposing Roy Moore, which he did for several weeks, the more votes Roy Moore gets in Alabama because they do not like the Republican establishment, in particular Alabama Republicans, and they don't like Mitch McConnell. On the other hand, if Roy Moore ends up in the Senate, he is going to be a magnet for the microphones, and in a post-Harvey Weinstein era that we're living in, this is going to be a very dangerous issue for Republicans in 2018, and it helps muddy the water with Democrats who have had their own problems not figuring out what to do about Al Franken and John Conyers. All of a sudden, they're all in the same soup, and it's a problem that they are going to have to figure out.
All right, David, Karin, thank you very much.
It seems pretty clear that at the end of the day, they need the numbers. You know, and all of this talk about, well, will they put something before the party? You're getting your answer. Coming up in our next hour, we're going to talk to White House Legislative Affairs Director Mark Short about what's going on with these tax cuts and why the American people should want them.
That will be very interesting to hear him explain them. Meanwhile, drugstore giant CVS looks to expand into health insurance with a huge deal to buy Aetna. Will federal regulators slam the brakes on this mega merger? We explain.
Data-driven reporting, relevant podcasts, and exclusive stories, the CNN Politics app takes you deeper into the news. Built with CA Technologies. Download at the App Store.
Why should your business build a modern software factory? The new demand. Think about it. That retail store can't compete with this retail store running on an automated supply chain, analyzing trillions of actions to customize an experience, which now takes Bitcoin. But come on, you've got this, right? You're ready to compete, right? Well, TikTok, my friend, who's going to help you supply this new demand? CA Technologies.
This is where life expresses itself as an endless flow of energy. Are you ready? Atlantis, Bahamas at heart.
Book by December 11th for the best winter rates at 1-800-ATLANTIS or AtlantisBahamas.com.
That seagull's not going to steal my phone, is it?
From our family to yours, may all your wishes come true this holiday season.
Ready, Daddy?
Thank you, VSP.
Lost your vision coverage? Enroll today in an affordable individual vision plan direct from VSP.
Look, Grandpa.
Wow, what a monster.
No, it's you.
Thank you, VSP.
Lost your vision coverage? Enroll today in an affordable individual vision plan direct from VSP.
This is all of us.
What do you think?
Did you put up flyers?
Excuse me, how much for this,
Death ray. It's $1 billion.
what?
I'm never going to make enough to cover these early termination fees for satellite. They make you sign a contract, so you got to pay hundreds of dollars just to get out of it. They don't even remove the dish.
Ridiculous.
I'll give you $4.
Put it in the jar.
I would pay twice as much for that. That was me trying to get her into a bidding war.
Termination fees are evil.
Yeah, I can use that.
Spectrum doesn't have them. Satellite TV, bad. Spectrum, good.
Discover how comfortable life can be in a stressless, and make others a little more comfortable as well with a special offer. Right now, when you donate $50 to charity, you get $200 off any stressless seating or $400 off select stressless Mayfair recliners. A stressless is your place to unwind and let the world drift away. The most comfortable seating in the world is now more comfortable than ever at the stressless dealer nearest you.
CNN Heroes on All-Star Tribute, live December 17th at 8 p.m. on CNN.
This is a big story. It would be the biggest merger of its kind ever. Drugstore giant CVS agreeing to buy health insurer Aetna $69 billion. Even more if you include the debt. I think it goes up to 77 on the table. If approved, the mega merger would be the largest health insurance deal in history. It would revamp the healthcare industry. Not a done deal, not even close. It will need to be approved by antitrust regulators, and it remains to be seen if President Trump or the Justice Department will intervene.
Well, New York's Metropolitan Opera suspending famed music director James Levine over allegations of sexual misconduct. The New York Times reports 3 men have come forward accusing Levine of sexually abusing them decades ago. The Met says it has hired investigators to determine if the accusations are true. Levine stepped down as the Met's music director in 2016, but he was scheduled to lead a new production this month. CNN has reached out to Levine for comment, and we will update the story when